Carly, how are you? Good. Staying warm? So, tickles my nose. We're in the white barrel room, and oh, thanks. We're in the white barrel room here, and I have something on my face. Is it gone?
Almost.
Nope. Piece of grape or something.
It is a piece of grape.
It's like Rosanna Dana. A little sweat ball at the end of her nose. So the background noise, there's a CO2 evacuation fan. So we have active fermentation going in here from tanks and barrels. Carbon dioxide is really, really dangerous. People die every year because of CO2 buildup in the winery. So you have grape sugar that gets yeast added to it, or indigenous yeast, which we're using. And those yeasts eat the sugar, convert it to alcohol, which is what we're producing in wine. But a byproduct of that, besides heat, from the heat of fermentation, is carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is heavier than air. So if you were to have an open container in here and no ventilation and a lot of fermentation, you can imagine, like, if you filled the room up with water and it wasn't leaking outside the room, it would actually come up to the top of that barrel or that container and fill that container with water. Same thing happens with carbon dioxide. It hugs the ground, it comes up, and then it'll fill any vessel that's open. And there's a really tragic story that I heard a number of years ago in Burgundy, France, where there was an open top, redwood fermenter, maybe 8-10 feet in diameter, 8-9 feet high. And somebody jumped in to clean it, and it was full of carbon dioxide because the room didn't get ventilated the night before. He died instantly. Somebody else jumped in to try to help him out. He also died, and a third person came and started to go in after them and realize what had happened. So real tragedy, and you hear it every now and then. So OSHA, Occupational Health and Health Administration, administers to a lot of this to make sure that we are working safely and that the rooms are well ventilated. So you hear that fan in the background. So in here we have Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, and sparkling cuvee of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir that came in several weeks ago that are actually already done being fermented. And we're gonna take a peek inside a barrel here and actually put a microphone inside a barrel, and you hear the yeast fermenting, or the carbon dioxide escaping out of the juice, the must. It's pretty cool. So talk about CO2 and the danger of it. We've all opened up a beer or a soda or something like that, and you get a flash of CO2 in the nose, it's escaping. Same thing from the barrel. Like, it'll really burn your nose, your mucous membranes. If you get a big waft of that over the top of a tank, or somebody opens a tank immediately, it will literally knock you off the top of the tank, and you may pass out or die falling from the top of the tank. So again, just got to be really careful. So this right here is Orchard House Vineyard, so our estate on the west slope of the Eolamity Hills. Elevation of the vineyard is 450 to 625 feet. Two different clones of Chardonnay, 76 and 548. And this went in here several days ago. It's being fermented with indigenous yeast. So yeasts that are indigenous came from the vineyard, from those grapes in my vineyard. So yeasts are everywhere, and part of the microbiome of the vineyard, the yeasts, bacteria, the critters are in the vineyard. This is the part of the microbiome, or the natural yeasts that are in that vineyard, in my vineyard. And so what I'll do is press this out, take a small amount of juice home, cultivate it, warm it up, because yeasts like to bud and ferment much more efficiently at warmer temperatures. So in advance of this going into barrels, it's in tank, it's still cool, like these tanks right here. I'll take the juice home after over a 4 to 5 day period, build that up and double it almost every day. And then we pitch it back into the tank, and within 24 to 48 hours, the fermentation gets going. We stir the tank up and everything goes to barrels. So here we've got clone 548 and clone 76. They're labeled separately. I believe fully in complexity through diversity. Also learn more about my vineyard and what these clones are all about. 548 is a clone that's not highly planted in Oregon. It's a Dijon clone, both 76 and 548, which were brought to Oregon in the late 80s. It's really helped us make world-class Pinot Noir. So this started fermenting several days ago. It went into barrel 2 days ago, I believe. And it's all turbid now, it's fermenting, and we'll take a look in the barrel too. Yum. Everything tastes good when it's sweet and fermenting. So what I'll do on a daily basis is taste all my fermenters. I use my nose first. The nose is the first indicator of what's happening. Maybe the yeast are struggling and there's some sulfides, kind of rotten egg or cabbage aromatics that are coming out, real fruity characters, etc. So the nose knows, and then I taste and make sure everything's tasting okay. It's really sweet, but I'm not tasting to see if it's good. I'm tasting to look for issues. So during harvest, it's triage. There's lots going on. I'm not a guy that sits there and takes a whole bunch of notes, because I'd never look at them if I did it anyway. So I go by memory, and I do have some notes from my days in Burgundy and in Germany when I was really going to school on some luminaries there, but now I just do it. So I'll taste not every barrel every day, and that's ridiculous, but several barrels from each lot or different clone, different fermentation, just to make sure that everything's going okay. And what we have here is, I don't know, there's 20 some barrels from the estate, 21 I think, and each barrel is its own tank. So you can't have something possibly go sideways in one barrel and not the others. So fermentation bung allows gas out. And this is at about 55 gallons right now, so it's about 4 inches down from the bottom of the bung hole.
There we go.
So there you go. You see, oh, the crate. You see the bubbles escaping during fermentation, and literally the surface of the wine is moving. This is 2021 Orchard House Vineyard Itirum brand label Chardonnay.